Hello, friends of Disney, and welcome to Descendants 3. Hello.
Okay, Matt.
Okay.
You aged beautifully, my dear.
Welcome everyone back to Friends of Disney, where we are friends who talk about Disney. If you didn't guess by Megan's amazing, weird little hoodlum old hag impression, we are on the third part of our Descendants series, talking about Descendants 3.
And I'm back this episode. I know last episode I was very sick.
Pregnancy issues, am I right?
I can't relate.
I mean, these two can't, but like, oh my gosh.
But
It's okay, I didn't miss out on much. This
No.
movie sucks anyway.
yeah, the second movie really does suck.
But
Yeah.
killing like a villain is still in my day-to-day vocabulary.
Same with Jonell.
It's so good. Yeah. But the second one is in the past, and now we must move forward to the third.
Yes, and if you haven't checked out our first episode on the first Descendants movie, or
We essentially
last
debriefed
week's-
the entire plot and all the characters,
Yeah,
and we continue to.
so make sure you check out the last two, talking about the other two movies before you watch this one. Or if you just don't care about them and want to just hear about the third one, you can just skip to this one. But
Bless you.
Thank you. Sorry.
so yeah, third Descendants movie, the pin.
PK Day. Sorry.
That was loud.
It's loud.
I didn't realize it was that loud.
So we start.
So yeah, the movie starts off with VK Day, basically, where
Villain Kid Day, by the way.
Does anyone pay attention in that scene to like when Jay enters that part? It's Jay's alley, and then there's Evie's.
so fun. Well, it's funny. So like the opening song is what's the name of it called?
Not chilling like villain.
Oh, I forget what the name of that.
United with the same
From the north to the south, from the east to the west, lost boys.
Okay,
lost
we're not gonna
girls.
we're not getting copyrighted. You want to run it back?
Hold on. This. Then. How do you spell descendants?
Descendant.
Then.
Oh gosh, I can't remember what the name of that
Because
song
we're
is.
from the Isle of the Lost.
Hold on. I got you.
Celebrate.
Good to be bad.
Yes, good to be bad.
I was just
Let's
gonna sing
Google.
out the whole song.
So yeah,
Google.
and well, it's funny because yeah, they do have like there's a line in the song where they say there's streets named after us
Mhm.
because we paved the way, and there's literal streets named after them.
I just find it kind of interesting because they go from each character, and it's like Jay's alley, and then there's like Carlos, and then there's Evie, and then
Yeah.
there's Mal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and little backstory on VK Day, because once again, the books, because this series is set up to where like it's book, movie, book, movie, book, movie. So it's like all the books and movies are like linear in time. It's not like the movies are based off of the books or anything like that. It's all one storyline.
I feel like we're talking about FNAF lore with all the references to the books.
But these references make sense and aren't as complicated as FNAF.
FNAF lore.
But in the books, they are moving forward with trying to get the villain kids to want to come to Oridon. And they're like, how do we drum up like interest? Because not a lot of the only one that really applied was Dizzy, Drizella's daughter, as we saw in the second one. And so it was
Sorry, baby, just drinking. Sorry.
And so they're like, well, we're actually gonna name like an actual like holiday called VK Day to celebrate the villain kids and everything. And so they're like, they end up coming to this decision of like what trying to think through the point of view of like what would make the villain kids interested in being to Ordon, and that's focusing on their selfishness and like, oh yeah, this is all about you. This is a huge celebration all about you. And so that's why this was made such a big deal in this movie about VK Day. And so, like we see, they end up collecting a bunch of applications for kids to go to Oridon, where they end up picking 4, which I have an issue with this whole concept because we saw at the end of Descendants 2, like Evie was like, Ben, we need to start bringing over more villain kids. And like you see like the Oridon guards or whatever go to Dizzy and give her scrolls like, oh yeah, you've been accepted to like invited to come to Oridon prep, blah blah blah. So like she's already basically been like, yeah, come on over. But then in this scene, they're like, oh yeah, now you've applied, so now you can come over. It's like you already made that decision. And so it's like you kind of took out another like villain kid's spot.
With the decision you already made.
Yeah, like it bugs me a lot. You guys continue on from here. I don't want to keep talking.
I was like, how do you feel about me and
Oh my god. So the other kids that got picked to go to Oridon were
I kind of
were Celia, Dr. Facilier's one of Dr. Facilier's daughters, and then Smee's kids, Squeaky and Squirmy.
yeah.
Okay, let's just let Megan, who is like expose dumping. Dr. Facilier is from Princess and the Frog,
Yes.
and then Shmi is from
Peter
Peter
Pan.
Pan. I was gonna say Neverland, and I was like, that's not the name of the movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
just in
Squeaky
case.
and Squirmy are so cute. I love
They're
them.
cute, but I kind of wanted different characters. I don't know if anyone else feels that way.
I would have loved another character if it wasn't Dizzy. Because again, she was already like picked and everything. Like we could have gone someone else.
But I love Dizzy.
I love Dizzy too, but you see what I mean, though.
I mean, okay, I see where you're coming from. If this wasn't a movie slash book series,
Mm-hmm.
but in I think of this quote that Lin-Manuel Miranda, because I love him, talks about a lot. Well, he said it like once in an interview about Hamilton. He made like he was talking about like why Peggy like left the show and like why we never hear of her again. And he's like, we only have like 3 hours to like tell you the story of what's happening. And so whenever I think of movies and TV shows, I'm like, they only have like an allotted amount of time to tell the story that they want to tell. And as much as I would have loved to see another BK step in, and so there'd be like 5 BKs. I see that it's supposed to one parallel the first time that like VKs were brought over to Ordon with our main 4, and 2, they only have short amount of time to tell. And as much as I love Shmi's kids, they also don't do a lot, and that's because there's so many characters that need spotlights.
Yeah.
They're adorable, and I love them, and I will die for them. But like
They have like
also-
a few good scenes, like, but they don't talk much. They're kind of like held to themselves, and Carlos and Jay are just like trying to inch them into things, which is it's cute, and then you get to see the reactions. But then as they finally get to Oridon, they're just kind of like shoved to the side when Audrey puts everyone under a curse, and they just kind of sleep for the rest of the movie.
right.
Well, I mean, yeah, and there's only
Let's talk about Audrey becoming a villain.
We
let's go to it.
will.
Let's just go to it. Like
Oh,
we could talk about the villain kids and like which ones we get to see in the overall story. We could talk that in its own episode.
Okay,
We
fine.
really could. So we can talk about Audrey.
So in Descendants 3, Audrey is like
She comes back.
spiteful.
She comes back.
Right.
Yeah.
She was not in Descendants 2.
No, she wasn't. She was only mentioned once when she got a flat tire in
With Chad.
Sherwood Forest
Yeah.
and calls Chad to get her 6 hours away.
But in this one, she's spiteful because Ben proposes to Mal.
Yes, and
And-
Audrey, if you didn't see the first one, Audrey and Ben were originally in a relationship and Mal broke them up and stole Audrey's boyfriend, and she's still holding a grudge.
Yeah. And so she's upsetty spaghetti, and she goes over to the museum, steals the scepter and the crown, and
Maleficent's scepter
yeah.
and the Queen's crown.
Okay, what do you think about the song though?
I hate that song.
It's not my least favorite in the trilogy. It's not my favorite.
It feels like a very okay.
I don't like the outfit that she going into it. Like
The outfit I don't like.
yeah.
Also, if you take away basically the production aspect of the music, it's her whining.
Yeah.
She's whining.
Yeah.
Like it's hidden behind this like very melodic and produced sound, but she's whining.
Yeah.
And
So
Poor me, I lost my boyfriend. I'm like, join the club. I lost my boyfriend too.
the last
looking past it, it's staring at me.
the last Mr. Chef update got married to another girl. Wah wah. Okay, that's
But no, she's just very whiny, and it bugs me a lot.
I mean, I I don't know. There are songs of artists that I love that's just whining, but it just
It's one thing to
the thing is, it just the drastic change from Audrey of like I'm just like the goody two shoes princess to villain with like a song that's just like I lost my boyfriend is just
That's the thing.
stupid.
Like I've heard songs where like it's about a breakup or whatever.
Taylor Swift.
Like they tell like they use their personal experiences. But the thing is with musicals, the song is just as much as part of the story.
In fact, there are musicals where it's just song. It's just like Phantom of the Opera is one of my favorites to bring up. That it's like no, Phantom of the Opera.
yeah.
Or Hamilton is another good one. I'm not just saying that because I love Lin-Manuel, but like literally, if you watch the musical just for the speaking parts,
They're
you would
all-
not
They're not
understand.
existent in Hamilton.
There are some speaking parts, but like you would get very confused if you just watched only the speaking parts. Musicals are supposed like the music in musicals is supposed to move the story along just as much as any dialogue or set dressing or anything else like that.
And so that's why like it bugs me a lot that she's just whining in this song about her boyfriend being falling for another gal when if you look at the greater context of everything, Mal didn't need to spell Ben for that to happen.
I mean, that and like we don't really see Audrey try to like win Ben back. Like once Mel in the first movie is just like love potioned and
5 minutes later, she was with Chad and kissed him in front of everyone.
right. And I know that part of it is supposed to be like the grandmother makes this comment of like your mom could have held
A prince in her
sleep
sleep.
like and if they wanted the grandmother's like opinion to matter so much to Audrey, I feel like we should have I don't know made it clearer.
I think the purpose of the grandmother being there has to do with her role in the first movie. Like we saw the grandma at Family Day in the first movie and she like threw a fit over Mal. And like Audrey was like, you don't want to stand too close to her, Grammy, unless you want to take another 1,000-year nap.
Well, and we see her have a bit of like her grandmother have a bit of a fit when Ben proposes as well.
Mm-hmm. They both had a huge fit because she's like, our family status is gone. Audrey, you effed up.
I don't know.
Another thing I want to point out though, as we're continuing on with this plot, is this bring with Audrey becoming a villain, it brings
A new
more,
outfit. Oh,
well, besides a new outfit, like a controversy to the realm of Oridon
Yes.
because people in Oridon feel threatened because the barrier keeps opening and closing, and
And-
there was a situation with Hades and his ember, and he like shoved his hand through, and he's like, "I am a god."
Yeah.
Not the goddess of shrooms, but
I still love how there's Greek gods, you know, in this world. It's fine. I'm not
But I
bothered.
mean, and like I don't blame them for being scared, but it does convey the message of what the movie was trying to get across of like
Anyone.
anyone is capable of doing bad things. Anyone is capable of doing good things. You could be a stereotypical good person and do bad. And you can be a stereotypical bad person and do good,
Yeah.
no matter what you're classified as. It's like that classic yin yang idea. In all bad, there's a little good, and all good, there's a little bad.
And Evie bought her own little starter castle.
Oh my gosh. Going back to the plot, the main message of the movie, I think it's so funny because literally it was the dad and the mom of Ben who were like, let's make the Isle of the Lost. In not even one generation. They're like, never mind. Um, which begs the question
Mm-hmm.
that I'm gonna pose to you two. Do you think that the Isle of the Lost, like as the entity it is, of like you can throw bad guys in there and then throw a barrier, do you think that's actually like helpful?
No.
Okay, so I think it I think it was helpful
Mhm.
in the sense of look at what they were dealt. Most of the villains, a handful of them had magic, and well, they were evil.
And I guess,
And
yeah, this all happens on the same timeline.
yup, all the worlds are in the same universe in this world. So,
And I'm just thinking about it, like all of, like the Disney princesses and princes had kids around the same time, so they're all around the same age.
and so, but like you have all these evil people.
Right?
It makes sense
What a
that
horrible
these evil,
type.
it makes sense that these evil people with this very powerful magic, it makes sense. Yeah, put them in basically a livable prison, basically,
And Cruella de Vil.
and remove their magic. Well, not all of them had powers. I mean, hell, Scar was there.
I still don't understand why we included the lions.
They're villains.
I mean, yeah, but like I'm talking from a creative, like I'm gonna make a story that's about the descendants of roy.
Shere Khan was there.
I'm just saying, why did the author have to include the lines from Lion King?
Okay.
Okay,
Now,
but
real question is, where's the superheroes?
Right. Where's Mr. Incredible?
that's Pixar, not Disney.
But where's the heroes?
Yeah.
Okay, but like, I think they were right in creating the Isle, but the Isle served what it needed to because being deprived of their magic, all the things that made them them, and just basically we have to start from the ground up, have a livable situation. It forced them into basically parental roles and basically unintentionally forced them into rehabilitation, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay,
Like I
look at Dr. Facilier, how he was in them, how we know him to be as himself. The boogeyman tried to steal the crown. Same old, same old. Very big on voodoo magic, whole thing. Descendants 3, loving dad.
Okay, I see where you're coming from, but I'm trying to think of a way to say this because right now it's like just it worked for some villains. Doesn't mean it works for all villains. And I feel like I don't know, like
They need some of Fairy Godmother's goodness class.
I was gonna say like it's a temporary solution for a permanent problem.
Well, yeah.
So, like, let's say hypothetically today we find out there are 5 huge villains with dark magic, and we find a way to like contain them and throw them in I don't know, an isle that we'll call of the lost. Okay, that's like temporary.
See, when I think of the Isle of the Lost, and if we're gonna like put it in terms of like prison confinement, I watch a lot of like YouTube comment like Jessica Kent and people who have been incarcerated and for like a lot of different crimes and things like that, and then watch their experiences. And one thing that they always now shoot for is rehabilitation for inmates. And Isle of the Lost has no rehabilitation for, like, in prison, the inmates there are learning how to thrive off of what resources they have, and that means having relationships with guards if they need to like steal a pen so they can make contraband to go trade that in to go get a tampon or whatever items. And like, so you're good. That's what I feel like I would see on the Isle of the Lost, is just a lot of this, like doing what you need to do with what is on the island to get by, but there's no actual rehabilitation into society.
Well, that's the thing. Like, they more or less built their own society. Like, it's separate from Oregon, but
The
like,
prison has its own society. That's what I'm
but
saying.
that's what they kind of did though. Because look at it. Lady Tremaine had a hair salon. She used to be a woman of status. Now has a hair salon that she got herself. Showed Dizzy and stuff. Ursula has a fish and chips shop. Handful of the villains actually teach at the school that's on the Isle called Dragon Hall. Yes, that's a thing from the books.
But
it's
they're not doing these. It's not
it's
like
not purposefully rehabilitation. No.
it's their own community, and it's not slowly introducing back into society, which is not helpful because, like, as we've seen with Mal and with Jay, Carlos, and Evie, there's this ginormous culture shock.
Yes, and again, that comes down to like the treatment too, because quite literally, they get the trash from Oregon, and that's what they eat. There's literally like barges that go from Oregon to the Isle with their leftovers.
Which is not very
No.
helpful. And so,
Like, I would hate Ordon too if I was living on the Isle.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's why, like, when I think of like what would be better for something instead of just shoving them all on an island, would be having a prison like in Denmark. Um, I think it's Denmark, but you know, each of the villains would be held into something that would contain their powers, so that way they don't have that power, but they're being taught how to live in a normal society, and they're also talking to therapists to talk out these issues because it's clear
Yeah.
that they had something that had backstabbed them and they got very spiteful.
hmm
Maleficent, we may never truly know, but
That bugs me so much that we don't know what happened to her. Like the last thing we see of her is
Her being shoved into a box.
a pencil box in the
Yeah.
second movie when Mal leaves, and that's it.
but you know, they each villain has their own backstory of why they chose to be evil, and they can work through that in therapy, and they can be self-contained in a room because yes, they did do bad things. They deserve to be incarcerated for their bad things that they have done. But they don't deserve to be in a place where they're forced to survive on very limited resources. Um,
And the worst resources at that.
yeah. And I know this is like a very controversial thing, especially when you relate it to the United States prison system versus a Denmark's prison system. And I can see potentially hate comments coming in. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, friends.
Of Disney.
um I'm excluding this in the terms of the RP word and the M word, essay, things like that. We will just say battery is maybe more of a thing of like in terms of
Yeah.
battery and attemptive um is more of like where these villain situations are and comparing them to US and Denmark prisoners. Because if I was to go on a full spiel here, um, people probably wouldn't like what I have to say. I mean, that's just general though. A lot of people have something that they don't like about someone else. So,
Yeah.
I know, I
Um,
can't stand this guy's face. and I married him.
Back to Descendants 3.
Sorry.
That was my fault. I knew I was stepping into like philosophy territory. That's my bad.
It's
It was a good
okay.
question though. Like that was a good discussion though.
Thank
Like,
you.
I just didn't want to go too in the deep dive of incarcerations because I know I can because I love watching people who have come clean from drug addictions from incarcerations and seeing how they adapt into this new world. I will not go into the Gypsy Rose situation because that is a whole thing in itself.
yeah. So
If you want Jonell to start a different podcast where she talks about that, let us know in the comment section below. I will not be a part of it, but thank you.
back to Descendants 3. So Audrey becomes a villain.
She has the worst outfit.
She has a sucky outfit. She has Maleficent's scepter. And she
But
goes
like the jewel stone changes texture. I'm like 90% sure.
Yes, it's called Better Effects.
It's also called ugly. It looks like I'm sorry.
She wears this weird fringe on her leather.
I'm talking about the staff, but like yes, her outfit's
Yeah, she's
I'm just
Boston
thinking about the outfits. And then like the leather outfit, the top didn't fit at all. Am I just the weird person who paid more attention to her outfit than the scepter?
No, I think all of us paid more attention to the outfit than the scepter.
It was
except
just
for her.
horrible.
Okay, one, the texture just really bothered me on the text on like on the scepter. And two, no, I totally here's the thing. If I focused all my attention onto the outfit, I would just get enraged. Um,
But
it really bothers me when there's like outfit malfunctions, which totally was like an outfit.
Oh, speaking of which,
malfunction.
this is not a malfunction, but there was apparently a malfunction of the outfit beforehand. But the dress that Mal got engaged to in the movie was hand painted.
that one and the what she was wearing during the Good to Be Bad
Yeah,
segment, they were both hand painted
yeah.
and stuff.
Because she had made a comment. I was like watching a reel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
watching the same reel about how unique the outfits in Descendants 3 were.
Yeah, and then Dove Cameron is just like,
The
yeah, they
actor
had to
Mal.
like go hand paint and
It was like canvas
yeah.
material, which
Dude.
I don't know what it is about these, like we talked about like these like Disney movie series, like High School Musical,
Well, it looks like
Zombies,
Club.
Descendants 3. I don't know what it is about the third movie. There's always a major glow up in the third movie for the characters. Like, major glow up.
Maybe it's because Carlos's hair got longer. But no, in another life, I was a costume designer. I'm like convinced of it.
That makes sense on you.
Does anyone want to go into Mal's daddy issues?
I'm still trying to get through when we find that out.
We kind of have been jumping around this episode, and
So like
you're not sorry about what.
Audrey
said?
confronts Mel.
Okay, hold on. Before we continue,
You did this again.
I know. I'm just gonna say that Audrey gives me like Anne Boleyn from Six vibes, but like if Anne Boleyn was a snotty teenager.
No.
Sorry, not sorry about what I said. I just want to have my boyfriend.
Anyways, Audrey comes in.
And she like confronts Mal or whatever, and Mal's like, "Are you?"
Turns her into an old hag.
Hence my
It's funny. This
Skit.
movie was great on its humor.
And then she turns others into stone. And also, on the side note, Jane's birthday.
oh my gosh, one of the best gags in the movie is Jane's birthday cake.
Yeah. So this movie was great at running gags. Like
The kids.
there's this recurring event where like Carlos got a cake for Jane's birthday, and like throughout the whole movie, people are slowly eating more and more of the cake.
Yes.
And like
First starts with Dizzy and
Celia.
Celia.
Yeah,
I think of it because it's Dr. Facilier, Celia,
I have to remember that it's not Freddy.
which is a different character in the books that we're not going to talk about right now.
And in the Descendants Wicked World series, it's not just in the books.
Listen, we're not talking about Wicked World. We're talking about Descendants 3.
But then Audrey just comes in, turns Mal into an old hag, turns some people into stone.
Turns people into just asleep.
Well, yes. Okay. I was going to go to the sleeping part. She goes to Jane's birthday and it's at the Enchanted Lake.
Because there's
And
nowhere else in Ordon
she
besides.
sings "Happy Birthday to," and scepter in the ground, and poof goes the magic, and poof people go to sleep, and Jane off into the water.
Because it's the Enchanted Lake and you can't get. I was gonna say
Can't get
poisoned.
sleepy.
I was gonna say can't get potioned, can't get spelled.
And Mal
So-
decides her and her friends need to go back to the island.
Yeah, so Mal says that the only thing more powerful than Maleficent's scepter is Hades' ember. So they have to go back to the Isle to get it. And once they get to the Isle,
And they bring Celia because Celia is Hades.
is Hades' lab rat.
Yeah.
It's more like
Aaron rat, excuse me.
I was gonna say
Lab rat.
Hades is not performing experiments on minors. I just want to put
But
it out there. Wrong series.
once they get to the once they get through the barrier, Mal turns from her old hag self to her regular self, and
Which we brought this up in the second one of the map.
they retconned the barrier a little bit
Yeah.
because they're like, only evil magic doesn't work in the barrier, and I'm like, no magic works in the barrier.
It's
Thank you very
fine.
much.
It's fine.
Why are you so judgmental when I poke out these details?
But either way, Mal sees the "Beware of Dogs" sign.
Yeah, so
Wait, hold on. The group gets separated. So it goes Celia and Mal because they're going to go deal with Hades, and then the rest of them are trying to get back the bikes because they were idiots and they parked them.
and
was it?
Gil and Harry. Yeah.
They parked them outside of an establishment owned by Dr. Facilier. Okay, now continue.
And then Gil and Harry stole them.
And the rest of the pirate crew.
And so they're chasing after them. Mal and Celia go to Hades' lair, where there's like a broken record of dog sounds to try and scare off people. And like Hades is sleeping, and like Celia ends up waking him up and catches.
Well, no, he was like already up because
No, he was asleep. Then Celia turned off the dog noise and he goes, "What are you doing here?"
well, then Mal like went to go grab it.
And he caught her.
Yeah.
And that's where we find out, dun dun dun, Hades is Mel's dad.
Which then they have like this whole I like this song.
I love this song.
I remember when Shawn and I watched this movie for the first time because the next 2 months afterward, this song would be everywhere.
Though the one thing I kind of laugh at is when Mal goes like, "For 16 years of my life, I had nothing.
And now I have a whole world."
Oh my gosh.
And
So much teenage angst.
My favorite part is when Hades is like, I collect souls. What were you expecting? Flowers? And I was like, yeah, well, your wife is Persephone in another world. So yeah, I'm kind of expecting flowers.
Well, and like my favorite parts of this, there's two parts of the song that I love. One, it's Celia's parts of the song, where she just goes, "Ooh." And then the section where like Hades is like, "Let's dance," and then has the tambourine, which was all like made up on the spot. That was not choreographed. That was all on the spot, and it was beautiful.
I think my favorite part of the song is like they're screaming at each other, like, you're giving me everything by giving me nothing. And they both do this like little stop thing.
oh yes.
That looked like my 3-year-olds when I told them they can't have ice cream for breakfast.
Well, and it's funny because you see like so many like mannerisms overlap in this song. I was like, oh yeah, like father, like daughter.
I wonder how often Mal saw Hades.
It's clear.
Apparently not.
Apparently not, but like, also, how did she get those mannerisms if she never saw him?
We also see a shift in Mal's hair to this purple bluish instead of just the purple.
Once they walk out of the barrier and she has the ember, yeah, which I love that combination on her. It works so well.
Oh, her pants also have this multi-chrome purple blue.
Okay, I'm gonna be the first person to admit it. I don't like the hair in this movie on the girls.
How?
Oh my gosh. So Jay's hair is perfectly fine throughout all of the series.
Mhm.
Love it. Carlos, his hair gets longer.
This one's the best that Mel's
I
hair's
know.
been.
I think the wigs are better. I don't really like the color on Dev Cameron. Sorry, Dev. I prefer you in purple hair. And Evie's, um,
Okay, I'm confused. She had purple hair.
I liked the OG purple hair, the shorter one.
Okay.
But I feel like Evie's especially drives me kind of bonkers because it looks like how, like, you know what I'm talking about when your roots haven't been touched up in a while. So, like, your color is like down here by your ears,
Mm.
and you're just like, and your roots are just,
I mean, I'm almost there. Yeah.
But, like, the thing is, I know you're an actual person with an actual life who actually has to do things. Evie's a fictional character. What if they wanted to give her a dark blue wig? They could have just done it.
I think it worked. I think it worked.
I just, it's not my favorite. Second, like, movie Evie was my favorite hairstyle wise. Okay, I'm done.
And the thing with Hades' Embers was it could not get wet.
Yes.
And
'Cause-
then they meet Uma.
Okay, this part is kind of dumb because Uma's still in the water with her tentacle arms.
yes.
Which
And
are
she
so bad
grabs
CGI'd.
the ember.
With her wet tentacles.
Yes.
But it's still dry.
No.
The-
Unless one of her tentacles magically sucked the whole ember and created a vacuum sealed bubble in there.
I'm just imagining. No, what I'm actually imagining is Uma like going through the water with just one tentacle. Like, I gotta keep it dry. Just in
But-
case.
But with them meeting Uma, when they left the barrier, Harry and Gil also jumped through the barrier.
thought of that though. I legitimately thought Uma would have like gone from the Isle of the Lost to Ordon, like one tentacle there.
I'm sorry. Okay, back to Gil and Harry. I love Harry. I don't think I was not here last episode, but I love Harry. I think he's funny. Like he would be someone that I would like go have like dates with, not like dates, but like I'd go with him as like a guy friend, and we would go and gossip, and probably watch really shitty rom-coms. Gil is someone who I'd be like, "Oh, honey, you're so cute, but so dumb."
Like how Jay mentions, I like how you get a kick out of a berry bush.
Yeah.
Now, really quick, because we
Evie's kick here to make friendship.
okay.
Are we on the same page?
No, I was
Oh.
gonna bring up something different that we haven't talked about yet.
Oh.
Ben.
His hair
So-
is still stupid.
So one, yes, Ben proposed to Mal. They said yes, woohoo. Two, there ends up being a meeting between Ben, Mal, Beast, Belle, and Fairy Godmother, where they look at Mal and they're like, Mal, how do we keep evil out of Oridon? Which again plays into what this movie is about. Evil can occur anywhere, or bad things can occur from anywhere. And they end up making this decision to shut down the barrier for good. Never let anyone in or out again.
Like keep up the barrier.
Yeah.
Shawn made it sound like they were just like, "Go, we're gonna shut."
Lock down the barrier, shut down program. Down is bad.
This is like where I was trying to get to in the beginning, and then I got off topic.
And-
On topic, off topic.
And-
But
And then
One topic at a time.
with Audrey now with like Audrey being evil and stuff, and while they're on the aisle, Audrey tries to confront Ben because everyone's falling asleep and everything, and she's like, if you want
Marry me.
if you want this to stop, this is all you have to do. Marry me, ditch Mal, be with me. And he's like, Audrey, who did this to you? You wouldn't do this. And she like loses her damage. She goes, oh yes, I can. And gets pissed off.
To be fair, I do that to Shawn all the time. I mean, not like about like I'm not putting people to
She's
sleep,
stubborn.
but like
Whenever I tell her she can't do, I don't think she could do something, she immediately does it. That's how our first kiss happened. And so she gets pissed off, does a spell on Ben. I wonder what it could be. And
With his
then
parents being Belle and the Beast,
and then and that's when she starts turning everyone in Oridon to stone.
including Fairy Godmother.
And so when they meet Uma's like, I will only help you and maybe give you back the ember if we bring down the barrier and let everyone out. And so Mal's like, yes, we'll do that.
No, wasn't it the thing that anyone who was a VK was allowed to leave if they wanted to? Wasn't that the deal?
No.
It was to bring down the barrier.
Oh, I can't remember. My bad.
But Mal's like, no, we can't do that. And she's like, okay, fine. What about now? And holds the barrier, like the ember over the wine. She goes, fine, fine. It's good. Even though they already said no, the barrier's staying up for good and no one goes in or out.
Oh, and she hasn't told this to the crew, by the way.
Evie doesn't know it yet. Jade and Carlos don't know it yet. So she's full-faced lie.
Well, okay.
And
Except for the part where Evie mentions like, I'm so proud that you're in these decisions.
like in these meetings so you can speak up for us and be part of these decisions.
Except like there wasn't much of a chance for Mal to confess
Mm-mm.
that.
No, it was a rock in the hard spot. But she's making it worse now by lying about it. And
If he
so
was just a true Kantian, should have just said everything.
and so now they're trying to track down Audrey.
And then there's this awesome dance battle in the castle with
Yeah.
some soldiers.
Yes. Again, I think the music in this movie was like really good.
Honestly, I think it's hit or miss.
I mean, there's parts of the night, like the dance battle song, which is like Night Falls. There's parts of it that I really like. Most of it I really like. The one part I don't like is like when they start getting like the upper hand and Mal does this like dance move that makes the armor that like Audrey's controlling to fight with them. She like does this spell to like commence the dance battle and like take control of the knights and make them dance. And like she does this dance move that is just so stupid and awkward.
My favorite is when Carlos gets up there and he goes, ah! Like imagine like T-posing, throwing your head back and just screaming.
Like, yes, I am here.
And obviously they won the dance battle and then they go on to their next quest.
Yeah, so they split up to where the girls go and check out Audrey's dorm.
Well, I think we should talk about Evie.
I'm about to get there.
Oh, yeah, no, that is a good
I'm
point.
about to get there.
Okay.
And then the boys are supposed to go and try and find Ben because they don't know where he's at. And Evie
Wants friendship.
Evie's getting cringy and very idealistic in a very like bang your head against the wall kind of way. Because like
why don't we all just get along, you know?
He goes, why this fighting? Let's just put everything behind and celebrate each other's differences and be friends. Who wants gum?
Okay, the gum came beforehand.
Yes, that was the first part. And then she's like, ooh, let's do an icebreaker. Why don't you guys each take turns saying something we like about each other?
Yeah.
And it's just like, Evie,
Read the room. You're with a bunch of PKs.
Well, and then also like Evie doing that is not the right time.
It's not the right time. And Mal, like
when you're in a non-high stress situation, yes, kumbaya, my lord.
Mal, like I feel like Mal addressed it correctly. Like Evie, like I love this energy, but we got other things we have to do. We're running short on time.
You see, I'm not saying anything because I am the Evie in most of these situations where I'm just like, let's just be friends. Yeah, my husband's nodding. Let's just be friends.
I'm probably the Mal, like, we got shit to do. Come on, pack your bags and go.
But you see, I've become better in it in recent years because we had a mutual, I'm going to call her an acquaintance. We were not that close. Acquaintance is saying that we were closer. Where I had this friend who became like a stalker. And it was like a really bad situation. And this person in my life came up to me and was like, I wish I could just trap the two of you in a room so you guys could just like talk it out because you guys were such good friends. And like you guys would work it out. You guys would be such good friends again. And I was like, oh.
It, it was it's one of those like very, I don't want to say
We're talking
naive.
about my roommate.
Yeah, your roommate
Oh, I
your
was like,
freshman year.
this sounds very familiar, like my roommate.
Yeah.
The very overly
It's-
mother figure who made me write down any person I was with, their address, their name, like any.
Like
it was a bad situation.
it's like
God.
there's something to be said about like that, like kumbaya, let's make friends situation, but also like there's also like a level of like
Read
where-
the room.
read the room.
On a side topic though, how did we be like, how did me and her become roommates?
I don't know.
I don't. Whitworth
We'll
did
talk
not
about
match
this
us
after.
correctly.
We'll talk about this after.
I know.
But and so they split off. Evie tones down her kumbaya, and they end up finding out like how much like, yeah, Mal ruined Audrey's life. Woohoo, woohoo.
It's really funny because
It-
Uma was reading the diary. She's like, "Oh my God, you ruined her life!" And
Mal's like, tell me something I don't know.
"Tell me something I don't know. How many inches in a mile? What it takes to make you smile?" Okay.
Hashtag love you, Selena.
And then
And the boys like they're looking for Ben, and Gil and Jay are being so cute. Like Gil is just like falling in love with like all this stuff, and Ordon like, you have leaves on your trees.
and then he starts eating a
It-
berry off a bush, and then Jay goes on to the tangent of what Evie had brought up in the past, and he's like, you know, like kind of like, let's do some of this bonding stuff. He's like, I like how you get a kick out of a berry bush.
Like they're having such cute bonding moments. Like it's so cute because like Gil's losing his mind, and Jay's like honestly like admiring it so much, and like it's like, oh, this is actually kind of cute. Like, yeah, you're like, you just, yeah, it's, you're allowed to love a berry bush,
And then ba-ba-da-bum, Ben's back in place.
and he's a beast.
And poor little guy has a splinter. And he doesn't handle pain very well.
My little friendship, my little pony friendship is magic much. Carlos pulled a Fluttershy, y'all. Just saying.
And Carlos mans up and pulls that splinter right out.
And then Jane magically shows up with a water sprayer full of
Oh.
enchanted lake water and sprays Ben to kind of de-beast him most of the way.
And Carlos brings Jane's birthday gift.
Well, no, so they go back to the cottage, like Evie's like start cottage or whatever, to like meet up.
Okay, I don't want to go too much in specifics, but like he gives her the gift at some point.
Yeah, at the cottage.
I wanted to go on the tangent of what do you think of Jane's birthday gift?
It's so cute.
I hate it.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cute.
I hate it
I think
because
it's-
like realistically all of them are around the ages of 14 to 18, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a high school relationship, which that is something you'd probably do in a high school relationship of like our two names together. But are those relationships realistically going to last in Disney World? Yes.
He made it with a 3D printer. Come on.
He could have like done a more symbolic thing to Jane though than their names together.
I mean, definitely 100%. But
Well,
like,
so
we also don't know how much time has passed since the last movie. Like it could be like what, a few months, which would make sense.
He could have like made a like glass
Okay,
slipper wand. I don't know.
So you probably didn't see this. There are deleted scenes. And in one of the deleted scenes, Carlos is talking to Jay about, what the hell am I gonna get Jane? I don't know what I'm going to get her. And Jay's like, why don't you make her something with a 3D printer? You know that she'll love it. And so that's how that came to be. Like that was like bro advice.
Yes, but I just think it could have been something not Jarlos or Kane.
At least it wasn't Kane.
I would have preferred Kane over Jarlos.
I like Jarlos.
I would prefer Kane. But like he could have made like
Okay, would you have okay, let's take me and
I would have
Megan.
preferred like a fairy godmother's wand with Jane's name inside the wand.
I mean, I think that'd be very cute.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Just not
I hear you. I hear you. There's different thing is that's all that mattered though is that Jane um Jane liked it. That's what matters. And that's all that should matter.
Also, I just want to say I think that Jarlos is my favorite couple of the entire trilogy.
they are cute, but non-Disney standards, that is if you look back on things like that, you would hate that type of gift.
I mean, I totally understand. But like, I don't really like Ben and Mal.
But um no, I really like them. They're so cute.
And
So-
moving forward.
Moving forward. So they end up going to Fairy Cottage where Flora Fauna Merryweather hid Sleeping Beauty from Maleficent, and they find Chad locked in a closet because he's terrified of Audrey and didn't want to be put to sleep like everyone else. And so
Mal confronts that she lies.
yeah, they end up learning about how Mal lied and everything, and then
Uma.
her friends get turned to stone. Celia took the ember and put it in the water, not Uma.
Oh, I thought it was Uma.
And so Uma turns her back on Mal and friends turn to stone. Mal has a song where she's like self-reflecting of like, yeah, I fucked up. It's such a Disney Channel song.
Yeah, it is.
Like someone I would expect out of Sophia the First.
Honestly, that's
Yeah.
Wait, hold up. I need to
And
check this.
we skipped a song really quick back up. So when they got back to the Evie's cottage, we find that Doug was asleep.
Oh, yes. I love this.
I hate this.
So for reference, Evie and Doug have not said that they love each other yet. In the beginning of the movie, we see a moment where Evie is like about to tell Doug that she loves him, and she chickens out, and it's like a little awkward moment. And so they see that Doug's asleep, and Uma's like, "Oh, well, if it's true love's kiss works every time, you'll wake him up." And so she's like panicking because she's like, "If I kiss him and he doesn't wake up, then he doesn't love me," and stuff. And so she sings this whole song, trying to like wrestle over this and get over this fact so she can kiss him. And Mal and Uma are just watching, like, "Are you gonna kiss him? Are you gonna kiss him?" Man, never mind.
Uma is me, by the way. I look so annoyed the entire time.
She was so annoyed. She's like, "Just get it over with. At least you would know." And I'm like, "Honey, it's a little heartless."
The part
Okay.
I'm laughing at on that scene is imagine being Doug.
Exactly. You just like sleep dancing, like it's so funny.
Just, yeah.
And then like he plays like it, and like she kisses him, and he wakes up, and they have like she has a little grumpy moment, and they smile, and it's just really cute. It's really cute. They're a really cute couple.
I still think Jarlos is better.
I never said they weren't.
So the Ember now has no power.
Ember has no power.
And
All of Mal's friends are turned to stone. Uma doesn't give a crap. She tried to beg Uma for her help back, and Uma and Harry still said no.
Which I understand yet.
Mal takes this on her own.
And so Mal goes to confront Audrey, who's holding Celia captive, and goes dragon mode and is failing. And so Uma's like, "Nope, I gotta help her," and is like, "I got you, girl. We got this. Woohoo, girl power." Ember reignites.
Okay, but to do that though, she gives the Mal somehow gets the Ember. She breathes her fire on it, and then they're like,
Girl power.
Yeah, well, like to regain your might and ignite. Regain your might and ignite.
Got
Okay.
you, girl.
I have something I need to confess.
Mm.
When I first watched this movie, I thought Uma and Mal were gonna get together.
No, I can't. No.
I mean, in another episode to talk about in the future, Disney going woke. That's on brand, but this was before woke Disney.
I mean, totally 100%.
Well,
Like,
Disney.
I just figured. Oh my lordy!
But-
I figured out how to lock the chair.
anyway,
So yeah, they end up using the Ember, defeating Audrey, but
and killing
so
Audrey.
there was a plot point when she got the Ember from Hades that Hades was like the Ember won't work fully for you because you're only half Hades. And so when they use the Ember and defeat Audrey, Audrey gets put to sleep and they can't get her out because the Ember won't fully listen to Mal. So they end up getting permission from Ben to get Hades to come over and awaken Audrey.
And then they learn that, like, that's, you know,
And
the dad.
Hades, this is where this kind of overarching theme of like who are the real villains type
Yeah.
thing.
You're talking about it. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Where this thing comes back because he's like, oh, so when an Oridon person becomes evil, we give them a little pat on
It's
the
a
back.
it's a lack in judgment.
Yeah.
When I do it, I'm a villain.
When
And
it's one
locked
when
on an eye.
yeah, when it's one of us, lock them up and throw away the key type deal. And like they called him out for it. And like, yeah, he woke Audrey and like they have a little kumbaya moment of like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, woohoo, we're all good now. And Hades gets thrown right back on the aisle despite doing something good. And him and Mal have like a little bit of like a father-daughter moment. It's like, you were just so involved and now you're gone again.
Which, okay.
I feel like they needed to have fleshed out the relationship a little bit more.
I think they could have toned down the relationship. Because if she hasn't realistically, she's like, you haven't been in my life for 16 years, Dad. Then how are they so lovey-dovey all of a sudden?
Yeah, I get it.
Because I mean, as a person who has never
That's why I'm saying they should have flushed it out a little bit more. Like, yeah, tone it down with how little interaction they had in this movie realistically. Should have been flushed out a little bit more and drawn out a little bit more if they wanted to have that kind of message
Yeah.
and stuff. And they end up at this engagement party that Belle planned where they end up deciding, let's take down the barrier for good. They have another ending dance with a very terrible green screen effect.
And Oridon and the Isle are connected by a bridge
Yep.
of swirls.
And that is the movie.
Descendants 3, the Descendants trilogy. Until
Here's
bum 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 future episode.
okay. I have one more thing I want to say that irritated me. And forgive me, honey, I'm gonna say it, bring it up again. Hun,
I'm listening.
you sure? Okay. I'm irritated there wasn't more stuff from the book relevant. Because
For the record, the reason I rolled my eyes is because Shawn and I, guess what? We live together. We're
she
kind
hears about this a lot.
of the time. So he's been rereading the second book in the series, because we do not have access to the first one, and so I get this. So he's been like talking about what's happening in the books, and yeah. So I've been hearing, I've heard this speech before.
Well, especially like with the book that is a precursor to the third movie. Like in that book, like Jay, Evie, and Mal are graduating high school, and so like it's a lot of like postgraduate stuff. Like you hear a little reference to it of like during the last song, like Jay's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do a gap year and we can go like look for stuff with Gil." Because yeah, in the third book, he like was like under a lot of stress because he was being recruited by a bunch of universities from Agrabah to Sherwood, like university or whatever, like Robin Hood's thing and stuff, and like that was a huge thing for him. And Evie starting up her business, getting her castle was a part of it, and Mal becoming queen, another big part of it, and like
And Carlos staying by for another year because
he's a year younger. Sorry.
We didn't just forget Carlos. Carlos is my favorite out of the four.
And so like there was a lot of stuff in like that book about like where their lives are going to next that felt a little lost a little bit. And like it was just like I like those little touches of like seeing like all four of their lives fleshed out, and this one just seemed very centered on Mal, you know. But
Well, and then we have to consider what happened to the actor of Carlos.
Rest in peace.
rest in peace, Cameron Boyce. But yeah, I hope are we all good.
Listeners, get ready for Rise of Red.
Yes.
I've been dreading this movie.
Please
Yes.
like and subscribe, even though this is very late in the episode.
Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, check out our Patreon.
Also, listen to us on Spotify if that's your preference.
Yep.
Wherever you listen to your podcast.
Yep, and tune in next week for the Rise of Red episode right after premiering. So, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.